So to continue from yesterday, let's move on to the fifth chapter of this story and to see what do we have here. Beginning with a rather rude persons. How do you define them? They are called boorish, I guess. Never heard that word before. But how would I explain it to a baby, to a kid, to a banker? So, what is a boorishness? What's coarseness when it comes to personality? Coarseness when it comes to personality is defined by uh, when someone doesn't care about someone else's emotions and how he impacts them. When he says awfully direct, blunt stuff which often hurt and hurt greatly. How would I describe it to a kid? I don't know, to a kid in an elementary school or something like that. Well, I would explain it that it's just when you're obscenely direct and when you do not care about other persons. How would I explain it to a banker? Well, I would explain it. It's just exactly how you are acting right now. Nothing else. Well, seeing what he is, he probably is boorish. What can I say? And I wouldn't even try to explain it to him because why? Why? No reason. Second question. How do I fix the morale of the society? Uh, that's kind of pointless, isn't it? Because a person either wants to be a moral person or he does not. See, it's very difficult to make someone do anything, and some people dislike moralizing with a passion. And I can just understand why, because it sounds like those annoying bishops and stuff. And there are personalities which severely dislike preaching. That would be called preaching in a word. Um, and it's just like the world peace. It's a foolish idea to uphold. People are going to, even if a genie comes, or a jinn, whatever, um, and you have a wish, and you wish for a world peace, some idiot somewhere will break it within half an hour because there's a plum tree right in the middle of his and his neighbor's house. Yeah, pointless. The same with morality. Should we act morally? I think yes, we should. There shouldn't be sex on the corners and stuff, but and overall anarchy. But to concern yourself with preaching and moralizing, not exactly. Third question: Can I can a bad behavior be forgiven because of a bad upbringing or something like that? No, it cannot. Uh, you, if you kill a person, if you commit some kind of a felony, you should be responsible for it. End of story. There should be no extenuating circumstances like I'm crazy or like my mom didn't teach me or I'm the there is no extenuating circumstance except if proven by a psychiatrist, and I'm more partial to neurologist even by PET scans and stuff like that. So yes, some extenuating circumstances, but there are severe ones when the brain chemicals are off and stuff. It cannot be forgiven. Next question is, what is love? Can you love and hurt someone in the same time? I have coined a definition of love, which is just a moment. I have it written here in my notebook, or how I prefer to call it daftar. Yeah, various languages. Who would have said I speak various shit? So, love is a state of yearning for someone or something. Let's explain that one, shall we? It means that you cannot imagine that even a moment passes without presence of that particular person or thing. I mean, it's like when you say, I can't imagine my life without you. It doesn't refer only to persons, it can refer to things as well, such as I can't imagine, you can't love them in that sense of a word, but then there are various kinds of love. A lot of people associate it with a romantic kind of love, but there are more kinds of love, like love of a nation, like friendly love, like friendship. That's one kind of love as well. Family love. It is relational love. How you love your family and your relatives. Every single thing is love of those things. So you cannot imagine your life without that thing because you yearn for it. Fifth question. Southern hospitality versus German hospitality. Southern hospitality is when a guest comes to your house and he's supposed to be right. And German hospitality is when a guest comes to your house and you as a host are right. Now, because I know how I think, because I acted like that, and I severely dislike when people come into my household. It's not our house, our household, my family, right? They should behave as we say, not as they want. It's foolish. We are the hosts, and they have come to us. It's perfectly logical, which is why it's German, because it's perfectly logical. It's perfectly logical to expect them to comply to our wishes, rules, etc. And if they misbehave, we have the right to just kick them out. If they don't want to, we have the right to call the police. Because they are our guests, not be theirs. And when I'm a guest at someone's place, I act like that person wants, because he's the host and I am a guest. That's all there's to it. Because yeah, it's like you come to Old Trafford and you start singing, I don't know, boring Arsenal or some such thing. It's not safe, and it's certainly not advisable, and it's rude. 6. What's a sympathy? When to use and when not to. Now, here are two definitions from my good old friends, the know-it-alls at some kind of a water crossing. Don't know which one. So, sympathy is a formal expression of a pity or regret for someone's plight or pain. That's one kind of sympathy for sure. That's when you have a sympathy for someone who has had a mishap. I can give you an example. Like there, you, a lot of Europeans know that beyond Balkans had a massive flood last summer, but century, flood of a century. Both us in Croatia and neighbors at Serbia and at Bosnia, we all had massive, massive floods. You can have sympathy for those people who lost everything, and I mean everything in that flood. And I really had sympathy. If I weren't in such a difficult situation, I would even give something for that cause, but it is what it is. And I really had sympathy for them because that's horrible. Imagine if a river came and took your house and everything you strive to build, everything you wanted to have, everything except the most important things, your family, have been washed away. Yes. The other kind of sympathy is a reinforcement in the form of common feelings or attitudes. It's when you are able to commiserate with someone, which means to just take his side. Like, there's a debate, and they are debating whatever. There is a side A, there is a side B, and you will obviously have sympathy for one side and antipathy for other side. You, and if you care even a tiny, tiny, tiny bit about sympathy and stuff like that, repulsion, attraction, and stuff like that, you will take a side, even if unconsciously. And to use it, to be quite honest, I don't know. You should use it when you feel that someone shares your worldviews, when something's important to you, and then someone shares your worldviews and stuff like that. I don't know beyond that. 7. Rules of behavior. Do I behave as I should? Should they be followed, etc., etc., etc.? So those are what are they called? I think they have a French name. Etiquette. Etiquette is always good to observe because it's a cheap way to score points with people without even trying. Other rules of behavior depends how severe. I will not walk around in uniforms and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, gets tiring to me. But if you must, you should uphold them. They exist for a reason. And I do have an example. Let's say you are on a street light and or traffic light, whatever you wish, and it's, I don't know, 3 a.m. and the road is empty. Some rarely driven through road, and it's red light. You come to that traffic light, and now it's the question: will you stop or will you punch right through? Of course you will stop because there is a reason why that's there. If, even if that light was in that montage light in on construction sites and when the roads are being mended and stuff like that, even then you should wait for it to turn green, or if it does not turn green within 5 minutes, you are free to go, but don't wait 10 seconds and whoosh away. That's it. 8th question: how do I recognize what is right and what is the right thing and what's the wrong thing to say? To be quite honest, I don't even pay attention so much to these things. as long as I do not cause some kind of an upheaval, because I haven't quite an experience with causing upheaval and mischief and mayhem. That's all I care about, and that the persons around me understand what I'm saying. That's also very important, because if I'm babbling and no one's understanding what I say, it's just, yeah. And overall, I do not consider myself with the right and wrong thing to say, unless it's obscene, of course. But then the rule of Paracelsus about dosage is applied here. Too much and too, too much and too few of everything is not okay and not healthy. Paraphrase from Paracelsus, of course. That's one kind of a rule that I like to observe, yes. It's very sexy. What's what's morality? Does such a thing as a common morale exist? Can I evaluate morality of a situation? Definition of morality. Uh, Morality are all the principles which constitute the difference between good and evil behavior, right and wrong behavior, etc., etc., etc. And the result and the effect from that are that morality is usually the systems upon which the good and evil impressions, right and wrong, are built upon. Common morale, like greater good or something like that. Tawa, yes. I think that it. I'm not sure about this, but there ought to be, because there are good and bad things. There are really wrong things to do and really right things to do and things like that. Um, and about the assessment of a morality of a situation, yes, I can. But as it stands and as I relate to morality, it's just the same as beauty. It's within eyes of the beholder. And it's a compared, that is measured against my own impressions, what honorable, moral, valorous, etc. is. So, no, I do not think there is a common definition of morality or greater good. And those things are used for bad purposes most of the time, anyhow. Then, someone is acting bad and provoking. What's my reaction? Can I show my negative affections towards that person? Can I forgive a person? Can I administer the silent treatment? My reaction to when someone's prodding me is to just ignore him. And if he continues, I'll just give him what he deserves. Most likely some kind of a direct, blunt fuck. But he asked for it. If you ask, give me your best and be blunt and direct. I will be. He was. I just do what someone tells me to do. Why should I object against that? I can show my negative affections, which I do to Rainins, which I will mention in a later video. And yes, I can show my negative affection because it's kind of my default mode, so to speak. Can I forgive a person? Yes. And everyone deserves the second chance. Everyone deserves the second chance. Perhaps even the third. But when you cross the certain amount of forgiveness is it's too much, and you should be just forgotten. And it depends upon the severity of what a person did. If it's a betrayal, if it's a murder, if it's of a close one, of course, if it's obscene things. It's difficult. But I think that I can forgive, yes. And that if more people did just this thing, what a good Pope Francis tells us to do, that's the right teaching. That's the right teaching. To forgive someone. To do unto others what you wish for others to do unto you. Good Pope Francis teaches us that. And you should muster the strength to forgive a person. It's not easy. Trust me, it's not. But I can. And I cannot administer a silent treatment. I'm too much of a blabbermouth for that. Sixth chapter. Ding ding! Diablo just crossed into the Aranok Desert. Oh god, we are doomed! Baal is out of his tomb! Alongside with his mega powerful host, the Tall Russia. Right. First question. The whole world is not the body of a child's dear. What are my opinions on that? Well, it depends. You know, sacrifices are always good. But it depends how old that kid is. And I always I do not agree with this. Because if you are to move forward, sacrifices ought to be made. It's a sad reality, but it's reality. But to see a children weep because his mother was killed or something, it's not alright. Is it alright to show your emotions? And can emotions be misused? It's alright to show your emotions because emotions are what we are. Ultimately, it's what we are. Even the most logical person has emotions and stuff like that. You really, really ought to show your emotions, your affection, your love, your hate, everything, your ebullient zeal or love of a situation. You ought to, because it's not right to live in an emotional bunker, trust me. But what can you do? You learn something from everything. And can they be misused? Of course they can. And right, just to position myself better. Yes, it can be misused by to emotionally manipulate and to just pull someone by his strings being emotions, right? Of course they can be misused, and I've observed it many times. Can I use negative emotions? How do they look? What do others think about them? Well, of course I can use negative emotions. Negative emotions such as rage, anger. What's its name? Zeal, etc. They are like outbursts, like when a volcano roars. Because I'll use that analogy because I do not want to be specifically obscene and dirty. Well, what do others think about it? Others are most often hurt by it, and my emotions are very, very powerful, but kinda out of my control, to be quite honest. So they propagate to them, and they are most often hurt or annoyed or things like that, because they come around to beat me in my ass. Because they are negative emotions. And I can use them to further my own goals, because I'm not afraid of showing them. Because they are what I am, and I can be only what I am, and nothing else. Of course, I can be something else for a brief period of time, like say an act when I'm acting, which I'm very good at, by the way. Or things like that. But those are short periods of time. You cannot hide who you are. So I cannot avoid them. The next question is kind of logically screwed. It's just an annex, I guess. Anschluss would be even better term to third question. In which situations? Well, in situations, I can use negative emotions when I feel bad. And then everything then goes southern than Texas. Not okay. Really not okay. Fifth question. Shallow emotions. What does that mean? Are there any other kind of emotions? But to be quite honest, I cannot understand that term. Shallow emotions. Does it mean that I'm just like pretending that I like someone? That I pretend that I'm happy? What does that mean? You either are happy or you are not. You either love someone or you do not. You either hate someone or you do not. I do not know what shallow emotions mean. I guess I could use my gauge explanations of dichotomies to define this and explain this, but don't think that necessarily applies to emotions, to be quite honest. And every emotion is different from a shallow emotion. I mean, an emotion can be kind of muted or kind of damped or something like that. Not dampened. Sorry. Uh, but shallow emotion sounds kind of wrong, don't it? Sixth, right and wrong emotions. Well, there are no right and wrong emotions. There are your emotions and the emotions that you are trying to convey. You should not try to convey something you are not, and those are wrong emotions, if you ask me. And the right emotions are every and any emotion that you yourself feel, no matter what that is. If a girl catches your eye and she's taken, who cares? It'll pass. It's infatuation or whatever. But it's your emotion. You shouldn't be, I don't know, ashamed of your own emotions. What the hell? I mean, really? Can I change uh, emotional status of myself and others for the best and for the worst? Uh, I can stabilize them, yes, and I like to be there when someone's in some kind of a plight. I like to be the emotional anchor or emotional pillar for someone to latch onto. But when he's feeling down in the dumps, because I almost never feel down in the dumps, like 98.7% of the time I'm either okay, it's realistic, so let's move on. Or um, even more of time, I'm rather optimistic. If I'm not thinking about some options and stuff like that, I'll get to it. Can I change them? Never tried, to be quite honest. I really never tried. I guess I kinda can. Kinda can. Let's leave it at kinda can. And question. Outbursts of emotions. What does that mean? When and how does it happen? I describe it as when someone's buggering me or pointing out the most insignificant things in my POV, sorry, um, or just flat out attacking me or my close ones or whatever. And then the Hulk happens. That's the outburst of emotions. When I just fly right off the handle and start pissing people off, cussing, being obscenely direct, unnaturally vulgar, and yeah, being punching stuff in people and such things. That's the outburst of emotions. Of course, other outbursts of emotions can happen, like outbursts of sadness. Sadness overwhelms you, and you just cannot and you cannot control your reflex for crying. So the word overwhelmed and is a nice description for an outburst of emotions. So outburst of emotions is when when a certain emotion completely overwhelms your ability to control it. Kind of like when Zerg overrun a colony. Yes. Ninth question. Does my inner state agree with my outer state? I don't even think that much about my inner state, to be quite honest. There are more important things, and to be quite honest, I don't think so much about this particular question. I know what it's aimed at, but scratch that. I'll answer it like this. What you see from me is what you get from me. Monkey see, monkey do, which means if I'm feeling angry, you'll get angry response. If I feel sad, you'll get sad response. If I feel whatever about you, you'll get whatever. So that's that. If I'm exasperated, I'll just say shut up or something. So what you see is what you get from me. Nothing else. So I guess it does. Do I track my mood and mood of others? Would be the final question. Kinda. I can't change my mood out of inexplicable reasons, and others certainly can, because of weather, because of phase of a moon, or whatever really, heat, etc. But I do not actively monitor this. I feel it, I guess, but I do not actively monitor it. It's not as important to me. So, those are those two. They are obviously linked to emotions and to tender side of a person. It doesn't have to be tender. You can be moralistic, zealous ass, and you can be built just right to be a bishop. and to preach to almost anyone. But often it is the tender side. So what did I think of these questions? Well, when I look back to the 5th chapter, it's kind of I understand it, but it wasn't so fun, and it wasn't. It was. I understand it. I understand it is everything that needs to be said. But sixth chapter was. I understood it completely, and I completely attached myself to these questions, and those questions are something I understand. Yes, and they were pretty creative and fun. Better than 5th chapter, to be quite honest, which sounded like a bishop put it. And fuck them. You should act like a good person, not like a bishop tells you. Honest, aforementioned bishop is a paragon of a good behavior, let's say, like Pope Francis. A good man. We are lucky to have such a pope. Even if I'm not a believer, we are lucky to have such a person. After such a moralistic and uptight person his predecessor was. Well, what can you do? He was a German. There is a difference between an Argentinian and a German, of course. How wouldn't it be? Never mind you this. These things, they are not important, they're my thoughts, and I am just rambling on. So that's that about the 3rd part of these videos. I will have an annex about Rhaenys after I finish the next chapter. The final video of 80 questions, and that's that. See you sometime.